Here it is, 4th of July in Oregon. Nice sunny day. You can see here anyway, I'm back in the old truck from the getting place, and probably can tell why this poor old thing is always needing some work. Yeah, I don't know, we can get in there and see that, but she's pretty well down. I'm sure it's overloaded. We got 30 2x6 by 8 foot pressure treated boards in there, a couple of 16s, and or a couple of 12s and 10 footer. And then underneath we got 4 big old concrete blocks and a sack or 2 of cement and some other stuff. Anyway, yeah, she's down there. Anyway, I'm fixing to get this unloaded, and then I'll give you a shot of what I plan on doing. We'll be back. Well, we got most of the stuff unloaded here, you can see. Anyway, and some of these cement block things, which are actually kind of cool. I was going to pour footings and put these style of braces in, but they had these blocks here, and I'm just going to run one joist down the middle of this deck thing that I'm going to build. But anyway, they had these guys here, so once I get them sitting on the ground, these things here have a big old washer and a nut you can run up and down to adjust your height, which will work just fine from what I'm going to do. Basically what we have this area here by the sliding door in between 2 parts of the house, and it's kind of a dead zone. It's got these big round concrete pad things, which actually I'm going to dig out and put elsewhere in the yard. I don't know how this is going to turn out, half in the dark and half in the light. But I figure underneath those things, if I lift them up carefully, the ground will be pretty well compact, and I'll be able to set those blocks in place and then adjust the height that I need. I'm just basically going to put a small deck out here in between these 2 chunks of building here, and place to throw a couple chairs and come out in the afternoon and sit in the shade. Anyway, it's kind of a wasted space here, and mostly weeds, and it's a real pain to mow in here. So that's the plan. Anyway, maybe when I got something I'll come back. Well, you can see we got the big round things out of here and those old steps. Anyway, this addition and this addition to this house were both built in 1973, along with that little entryway there. So that step had been there since 73, and he didn't want to go anywhere. It's still very strong and was lagged into the side of the building there with 4 great big long lag bolts. Anyway, got all that stuff out of there without destroying too much, and now I'm fixing to draw some lines and figure out where I'm going to put this new porch. We'll be back. Well, eventually the deck boards are going to end up right up here underneath of this lip on this sliding door. Anyway, and we have multiple heights here. So I'm going to go ahead and put some cripplers in here to build it out, and then there's going to be a 2x6 pressure treated on the face of this wall and on the faces of those at the height of the deck, and that's what I'll set my boards on the edges. And then down the middle here I got these piers, and I'll put a pair of 2x6s down the middle for the center of it, and that'll be plenty for this little thing with a couple chairs on it. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my line and get my cripplers in place and string line this thing out and start mounting my 2x6s on the walls, and then I'll set a string line up to adjust my piers in the middle. Anyway, coming back. Okay, quick shot of what we got going on here. We went ahead and shimmed up here underneath this door, and you can see I left enough room here for my actual deck boards to go in and tuck underneath the lip here. Anyways, we just used some old cedar fence boards, which happen to be the right thickness to fill all of those gaps up. And then the other side there, we got one of our 2x6s attached here, just with a few screws right now. I'm going to go back and hit them again. I've got all my wall studs marked. I think you can see that pencil mark there, where I'm going to run my screws. Anyway, and then my deck boards will be just sitting right on top of this on the edge. Going to do the same thing to the other side over here. And you can see my little crippler board here. It's actually, I bought little cheap boards. They're, I don't know, they call them 1x4, but they just happen to suck up and be just about right. And they're cedar, so they aren't going anywhere over time. They'll be down under there, and I'll put another 2x6 on the face over here. And then I got to set my center posts out in the middle, and we'll be set to go on this thing. Well, as you can see, we kind of got the basic outside structure pretty well built up on the house there. Over in that far corner right over there around that electrical, I got to build a little crippler on the wall to put my boards on later. But yeah, basically we just did one board down. Well, first we did under the door, that side there, this other side here. We did it all just with the level, and then connected the two tails here at the end. And you can see that last board there, we did pretty good. It's pretty much dead on end to end. Isn't bad from for starting way back, you know, over yonder there on that wall. Anyway, no string lines or anything, just strictly with the old bubble. And there you go. Anyway, we found out that our piers here are not tall enough to do what we're doing, so sent someone to the getting place to get me some just some stepping stone type deals to put underneath it. What I figured I would do is set this center run, oh, I don't know, 1/4 to a 1/2 inch taller than the two outsides, and then in time, if these things settle down in, it'll probably end up pretty much flat, and if it doesn't, then oh well, the water runs off the ends, I guess. Anyway, and if I leave some room, I can get underneath the porch there and adjust these things. They got a big old washer and nut there, so you can run them up and down. So if over time I didn't like the way it is, I can climb underneath here and crank them up or crank them down. Anyway, that's it for right now. Okay, back from the getting place, and we got these extra little stones underneath. They're pretty substantial, actually, underneath our blocks there. Let me back out a bit. And got our center piece just sitting there loose right now. We're just adjusting, and have to adjust the height yet and get it attached there on the ends, and then attached to those piers. And then we can start laying the deck boards in place. Actually worked out pretty good. We just kind of scraped and leveled till those rocks there, those bricks, laid flat, no teeter-totter. And like I said before, I'm going to adjust it a little bit high in the center to start out with. I don't know, we'll see how much. Maybe 3/8, 1/4 inch, something like that, and then it'll settle down into that dirt over the time. If I get the loosies later and feels kind of spongy in the middle, I can always climb under there and crank those up, take some of the slop out of it. Anyway, that's where we're at right now, so we're going to go ahead and do this thing, get it attached at the ends, and go after it. Well, here we are. We're putting the deck boards on. I guess we can see that okay. Yeah, I cut my first one. I figured everything was nice and square between the houses, and took off, and I ended up getting a little bit of a gap down at the edge that I didn't want. I was leaving a 1/4 inch or so on each side anyway, just for expansion and whatnot. Keep some air in there, keep things dry. Got a little bit out of control, and thought the buildings were getting further apart, but in fact what was happening is some of the boards were a little bit twisted, and I was using these 5-gallon paint sticks for my spacer and my gaps, and so basically I'd gap one end, then do the center, and then I'd pry or push on the other end depending. And what I found was that when I did my prying or pushing, if I only had one screw in the center, that screw would bend a little bit and the gap would change in the middle. And that's where, so actually my angle changed a little bit from the first board out here back to there, so we ended up making them a little bit longer, and now we're pretty much gapping them by eyeball, and everything's fitting just fine. I think I have enough cut now to get back into that far corner there, and then I have to start cutting some funny boards to get across the back there underneath the door. Anyway, I'm going to see where I can get here today. It's oh, I don't know, not quite 8 o'clock yet on 4th of July. Started actually on this project tearing the old steps out and stuff at probably 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and haven't been hitting it too hard here, but anyway, hoping to at least get the deck pretty much down by the end of the evening. Well, here it is, about 9:45. Still 4th of July. You can hear it in the background, I'm sure. Anyway, we now have our deck, such as it is. It's just a little guy. Anyway, it's about as far backed out as I can get. Pressure treated lumber. We'll paint it or whatever in time. Anyway, you can see that I did this at an angle. I just figured it'd look better than straight across boards, so the whole thing's at an angle, and you come out to the end here. Get out of my light. And I left a little bit of room here at the end of this building. That'll take up, you know, one of the steps. There'll be probably 2 steps down. That'll take up one of the steps and not get out behind too far. Anyway, that's it for today on the deck. It came out pretty good. I'll deal with the steps another day, and guess we'll do a little 4th of July. You can hear it out here. I don't know if I'll be able to catch anything in the air. Look around here. No, probably not. No, there's one way over in the distance. Anyway, these flying things are not legal around here, but they're flying anyway. So happy 4th, everybody, and thanks for watching.